Hey everybody! I hit the live button a few seconds early. I'm gonna try and keep my computer on and my phone on so I can see your questions, hopefully. That might not work. Okay, is there like a huge echo now? I might have to turn the computer off. There. Okay, there was like this continuous echo on my end. Let me know if you're hearing it on your end. And if that's the case, then I'll shut my computer down, but I want to try and keep it on. Good. Was it echoing, Jackie? If it starts to echo, let me know, because nobody wants to hear that. Did it stop? Can you hear me, soccer mom? Hey, Jackie. Hey, Sassy Grits. Hey, Patty. It's fine now. Okay. Yeah, my sister is usually here to help me with the tech side of things, and she has the flu. So there she is. She's commenting. So yeah, I like had a little panic attack because you know, without her, we could end up with a whole live video that's nothing but echoes. So how is everyone doing? I wrote some of your questions down. I think I'll start with the questions and then we'll get into the worksheets. Yeah, I hope she's getting better soon too. She lost her voice and her daughter has the flu, and so she caught it. And that was the agreement when I started this membership group, was that she was going to help me with this, because it makes me so nervous to go live, especially by myself, and just trying to figure out the back end of it is a little bit tricky. Excuse me, and I'm an introvert, so just going live in general is freaky for me. But I do love it. Like, I have to say, after I finish with the live, it's like, oh, I can do that again. That was fun. And it's a fun way to talk to everyone in a way that you can't do in an edited video. But like those few, like when you know you have to go live an hour before, it's like knowing that you have to go to the dentist in a lot of ways. It's like that panic, that anxiety, like, oh my God, is it gonna hurt? Just because, yeah, Danielle, you breached the agreement. Just because it's difficult and it's the unknown, and with edited video, you can control pretty much everything, and if something doesn't turn out the way that you want it to turn out, you can edit it out. But with live video, it's like, here you go. This is what you get. This is the best that I can give you in this moment. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking. But I was thinking about that, and I thought that that would be a good way to start off this live session. Because I think that's, like, for me, that's the biggest challenge. You're a huge introvert. I would never know that by meeting you, Jackie. Jackie came to the class with Jamie Ray last month, and she's just lovely, and I would have never guessed that you're an introvert. But I guess we all have our challenges and our struggles. And for me, it's doing something new that is just so daunting and so scary. So, I've gone live on Facebook a few times, and I feel like I've, for the most part, figured that out. So I don't get as nervous doing that, and I've made plenty of videos, so the edited videos, I feel confident that I can get a video done. But this is new, and this is the third time that I've done it, and the last 2 times I've done it with Jamie Ray too. I've always had someone here to help me, like, push the buttons and get it all set up, and man, I was ready to chicken out. I was ready to write in the comments, you know what, I changed my mind. We'll do it tomorrow or in a few days when my sister is better. And I knew that that wouldn't be the right thing. I knew I had to, push myself out of my comfort zone. And I knew that, hey, cobweb afternoon. Yeah. So, um, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is really important for, whatever it is you want to do. If you're building that creative muscle, whether it's just a hobby and you want to create beautiful things for your home, or you're trying to build a business and use online platforms to sell your painted furniture or whatever it is that you make. um, for me, it's a good reminder. Today was a really good reminder of what that feels like when you feel like you're just I signed up for public speaking, Jackie, in college, and I sat in class one day, and I immediately, after the class was over, I went straight down to the registrar's office and dropped the class. So I totally get that. But yeah, it's that feeling of you're just jumping into the deep end and you don't know what's going to happen, and there's so much uncertainty. And then if you can get past that and just tell yourself, you know what, it's going to be okay. No matter how it goes, no matter if I start off with an echo, if the phone falls over, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. That is how I have learned to do every single thing that I've ever wanted to do. Like I grew up, um, most of my life I lived it afraid. I don't know how many of my videos that you've watched, but it wasn't until I got into my 40s that I took an acting class, and I was just like shaking from head to toe, like I felt like a rubber band. And um, I had to get up and say a monologue in front of the class, and I had just told myself, just get up, get it over with, and then don't ever come back here. This is not for you. And the teacher wouldn't let me sit down until I actually tried. Like I had written my monologue down on a little piece of paper like this, and I had it all memorized. We had a lunch hour to memorize it, and I memorized it. And then when it came down to actually doing it, I didn't trust myself that I had it memorized. So I took my piece of paper up and I stood in front of this half circle full of like 12 people, and I just read it as fast as I could. And I just completely bailed out of even giving it a try. And the teacher wouldn't let me sit down. And he grabbed the piece of paper out of my hand, he read it, and he's like, this is about frustration. And when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get out of there and I had to actually figure it out, then I like went into panic mode, and I'm like, okay, you can do this. You got to actually try and do this. And that was a huge turning point in my life, because I did figure it out that day, and that was the first time. And I think I was 42 or 43 years old, and I was able to speak in public and actually share with people. And when I finally did do my monologue and I finished it, there were people, I like wasn't making any eye contact with anyone. And then I stopped and I looked at all the faces of the people in the class, and there were a few people wiping tears away. And for me, that was like, oh my gosh, I felt for the first time what it feels like to actually connect with someone and get past that fear and like set all your fear aside. And it was such a huge moment for me that I'd never felt before, that I just told myself, I don't care how hard this is, I'm going to come to this class and I'm going to keep coming until I figure it out. And I mean, really, that's why we're all here, right? That's why you signed up for this membership group, because you want to make a connection. You have questions you want answers to, and you want to feel connected to other people who are doing the same thing as you are, and you want to learn. So, tonight I think was maybe divine intervention. It's been a while since I felt that freaked out. Yeah, I think a lot of people are introverts, and it was a good reminder of how important it is. And that's really, really key to anything that you want to do creatively. So I think if you can just get past whatever it is, like the newness of it, and you can just push yourself past that, it does get easier once you break that wall down and just tell yourself, I can do this. I don't care if I'm tech challenged and 53 years old. um, yeah. So let me start by answering a few questions that I wrote down from our membership tab. So Shyla Court, she wants to know how to make a dark purple color. Get stuck in our heads, yes. The most frustrating part is talking and reading your questions at the same time. I don't know how to balance that. I'm gonna do the best I can. But Shiloh, you want to know how to make a dark purple color. I like to take Bohemian Blue and, sorry, notification. I like to take Bohemian Blue and Kissing Booth, and I mix those two together. I usually start with the darkest color, and um, and then I add the lighter color in until it gets to the purple that I want. But I will tell you that we have 6 new colors coming out, and we have the most beautiful, deep, dark purple that you can imagine. It is gorgeous. I think I have a, okay, this is a sneak peek that I haven't shown anyone, but this is the purple right here. It's almost black, and it is called, what did I name it? Can't remember what oh, it's called Cherry Picked, because it's the colors of black cherry. Yeah, congratulations, Granbo. Okay, let me see if I can go back, because I see some questions in here. You lost 40 pounds. That is awesome. Okay, Patty Richardson, with all the social media platforms, I get confused. I think I finally figured out most of Facebook, but the rest is a mystery, and how important it is to have a web page. So Patty, I would pick a couple to focus on. Everyone has their specialty, and even now with all the platforms, so there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's YouTube, and there's Pinterest. My website will show me every time I make a sale online for paint. I get reports on my website, and it says where my traffic is coming from. Hey, there's Jamie Ray. You got my text, Jamie Ray. You didn't answer me. I sent an SOS out to Jamie about an hour ago. I can't figure out how to do this by myself, and my sister's sick, and she didn't answer her phone or my text. So I guess I was just supposed to figure it out. But anyway, back to your question, Patty. My website will tell me where the majority of my traffic is coming from. And so for me, I know that YouTube is my #1 driver to my website. I know it's Memorial Day. Who goes live on Memorial Day? And Pinterest is #2. So I focus on those two, and I never spend any time on Pinterest. Actually, I hired my niece to set up this auto posting system, and my time creating content for YouTube, I hope. Did the connection just drop out? No. So I also have Facebook and I also have Instagram, but I don't sweat those because I'm busy. I run a store, and as I go, I have more people to help me. But I think that it's really important to not feel overwhelmed. I don't do Twitter at all. And I think you just, like, it's really hard to be good at all of the social media platforms at one time. So I would focus on the two of them that you like the most, and take it from there. If you ask me personally, this is something that I feel really strongly about, that a lot of people probably don't even realize. YouTube is the most powerful platform in my experience. A lot of people don't want to even try YouTube because it's scary, because you have to learn how to edit videos and go live on YouTube, and it takes a while to get going. And when you first start YouTube, you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But I think that is not really the case. Like Facebook, for example, I took one of my videos, I can't remember which one it was. It was a video that did really well on YouTube, and I did a little test a few months ago. And I uploaded it directly to my Facebook page, and it had already been on YouTube for a couple of weeks. And when I uploaded it directly to Facebook, it looked like I was getting way more views on Facebook, way more comments, way more shares. Like in one day, I got the amount of views on Facebook that it would take me a week to get on YouTube. And I'm like, how can this be? Because on Facebook, I only have 30,000 followers. On YouTube, I'm approaching 200,000 followers. And so I just didn't believe it, first of all, because you can kind of tell by the comments. So the comments on Facebook were much smaller than what they were on YouTube. And then I went and I did my research, and Facebook will count a view on their platform. They'll say, you got, 7,000 views in the first hour. And that in the mind of Facebook, a view counts if someone watches your video for 3 seconds. Where YouTube, you have to actually watch the video, and you don't get a view if someone doesn't. I don't know what the threshold is, but it's not 3 seconds. I think it's at least 60 seconds or a minute, and you can go in your back end of YouTube and you can see exactly how long people are watching your videos, where they're dropping out, where they're fast forwarding. No worries, you can, Lisa, you can always watch the beginning after this is over. So I think a lot of people think that Facebook is easier and you get a lot more engagement on Facebook, but I think that they are making it look like you are getting more engagement than you actually are. And I know with my retailers, only a handful of them are putting efforts into YouTube. The rest of them are all on Facebook and Instagram, but the ones that are selling the most paint are the ones that are on YouTube. Even if you think, oh, I'm only getting 100 views on this video. My first video, I think it took me 3 months to get my first video up to 100 views. But the great thing about YouTube is the video stays for a lifetime. It doesn't just get on Facebook and disappear after a few days. So even though that first video took me 3 months to get 100 views, I'm gonna go and look at that first video and see how many views it has after 6 years. See if I can find it. Give me a second here. So my very first video, my first DIY video anyway, was the sea urchin cupcakes, and I posted that video in 2011. 7 years ago. It has 16,000 views now. So even though it seemed like in the beginning that I wasn't getting any traction on YouTube, after 6 months, that video started to grow, and I think it took me 6 or 8 months to get to 1,000 subscribers. And all my videos were 100 views, under 100 views, and then it slowly climbed over time. But the great thing about YouTube is if you make an investment, it's an investment in yourself and in your business. You make that investment and you put work into it, it will grow over time. So it's still there 7 years later, it's still accumulating views. And all of my videos are like, let's see, so that was the first DIY, and then the next I made 2 more DIYs, and then I made the third video I made was how to make a seashell mosaic table 7 years ago. That video has 357,000 views. So you never know which ones are gonna hit, but they accumulate over time, and you get to the point where you've made enough videos, you're making money every day while you sleep. You know, your videos just continue to work for you. And that's why I put so much time into the editing, and I um I I edit, you know, some of my videos take 4, 5 days of straight editing to do, but I do it because I know that they will last for years and years and years and continue to grow over time. Like I have a video that's over 1 million views, and little by little, bit by bit, my mom used to say, little by little, much is gained. That's definitely the case with YouTube, where you can pour your heart into your Facebook page and post there 3 days a week and go live. And then if you drop your Facebook page, it can die. Like, you can come back 6 months later, and even though you have 30,000 subscribers on Facebook, you can put something up and Facebook will treat it as if you have zero people following you, because it's like a machine on Facebook that you have to keep feeding, and if you stop, all of your hard work just kind of tanks. Where YouTube, there have been many cases in my life where I haven't been able to post for a month, or even, I think the longest span I went was 4 months. And yeah, you know, you lose a little bit of traction, but all my hard work wasn't lost, and I still had that foundation. And it's the number one most powerful tool as far as selling my paint and sharing my projects. Oh my gosh, yes, that's so true about Facebook. It is, and there's a lot of noise on Facebook. You know, there's a lot of people going live on Facebook, and there's not, even though there's a ton of content on YouTube, I don't see a ton of DIY content on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, so that is my that's my answer to that question. Olivia Cole, hi Debbie, I'm not a member, so I don't want to take up your time, but I just wanted to say I love your work. Thanks for doing what you love. Olivia, you have to be a member, otherwise you wouldn't be watching the video. So I think you are a member, and maybe you don't realize it. Because you can't be watching the video. It's a private link. Did you find a way to hack the system, Olivia? Anyway, thank you. Thank you for your comment, but I think you might be a member and you just don't know. Okay, Patty also wants to know, is it important to buy the ads or boost the posts on Facebook? I never boost posts. I hardly ever boost them. I feel like if you boost a post on Facebook, you get on their sucker list, and then all of your posts after that are gonna die down because they want you in the mindset that you have to boost every post. So I boost posts once in a while if I really, really want to get it out there. Like if we're having a big event at my store, I might boost a post, or if I'm teaching a class, I might do it. But I know that after I boost that post, I'm going to pay the price, and that the things I post for the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to tank. So I highly suggest not boosting a post unless you really, really, really want to. And I watch you for years, Debbie. I enjoy learning what you show, but your stories are what caught me. Oh, thank you. We're going to talk about storytelling tonight. Hey, Tucson Junksters. Okay, I learned from the really awesome couple that is Zeb and Jamie. It's important to be yourself. Being real helps people stay with you. Oh, wait, don't. The comments are flying. And wanting more. It's so true. It is. It is. Being yourself is super important. And I try really hard to be authentic. And if you watched my last video, I was really, really nervous about telling that story, because it was a story about a side of my personality that is selfish. And I didn't want to give away that dresser, and I felt compelled to tell the story. When will your next class at your store be? I want to come to a class. We have classes going on, Laura, at my store all the time. You can call you can call the shop, and we are getting ready to post this awesome thing on our website with a calendar, so you can go in and put in your zip code and find a store near you from a DIY retailer, no matter where you live. And hopefully that will be up soon. But you can email hello@debbysdesigndiary.com, or you can call the store, which is 222-2989, and get our class schedule. Yes, she has an Instagram. When you began YouTube Live, how do people find you? Just rely on search, or do you use Facebook to promote? Okay, so I've never gone live on YouTube except for here in the membership group, because going live on YouTube just freaks me out still. I go live on Facebook, but when I began YouTube, if that's what you're asking, Glinda, 7 years ago, and I think somebody else asked that same question. Julie asked, how do you start YouTube at 0.0? So I started with 0 followers, just like everybody else. And, you know, I asked my mom and my sister and my relatives to subscribe. And I think I had a little bit of a Facebook following. So I relied on Facebook a lot to get people over to YouTube to watch. But honestly, my YouTube following, I feel, is really different than my Facebook following. I feel like people do watch me from Facebook, but they don't necessarily subscribe or even know that they can subscribe. It's just a whole different environment. Like whatever platform you're on, they don't necessarily cross over. So I have Instagram followers who only like Instagram, and they don't necessarily like Facebook. And then I have Facebook people who they don't understand YouTube, and it's hard to get them over. And I think I had to pull some of you from Facebook over to the membership group and explain it a little bit. But YouTube is great. Like the great thing about YouTube is you can use the search tool to get found. So I would suggest, if you're starting from ground zero on YouTube, I would create some videos that are highly searchable. So like my biggest video on YouTube is the velvet sofa over there that's painted. And so I made that video, and that video has grown to over 1 million views, even though I only have 200,000 subscribers almost, because people are searching for that in the YouTube. They want to know, can you paint upholstery? So they're putting in painted upholstery, how to paint a sofa. And that video is something that people are looking for and wanting to find out about. So if you can make a video that's something that people really want to know about, that will help you get traction on YouTube. Also, the thumbnail is super important. So when you think about when you're scrolling through YouTube and you're like, oh, what do I want to watch? You know, like I love to watch YouTube when I'm sitting down eating my dinner, and I'll scroll through all the thumbnails and decide what I'm going to watch based on the thumbnail. It's really important, and I think a lot of people don't realize how important a really good, compelling image is, especially a before and after image. And I've seen some videos where people just post the before, and they'll literally take a picture of the piece of furniture, and it's not painted at all, as before. And so then you click on it because you want to know, like, you know, it's almost like clickbait, right? You're like, well, then you know, if the video is good, they'll stay engaged, they'll keep watching. So that's another way to get people to watch your videos, is to put time into the thumbnails. When I went to Los Angeles, and I stayed a week at the YouTube Center, and it was a whole like week boot camp of how to do YouTube best practices. And they said that you should spend almost as much time on your thumbnail as you do on your video. Now, I spend 4 days editing my videos and probably 2 or 3 days making the project, so I don't want to spend a whole week on the thumbnail, but I do spend at least probably an hour on my thumbnails. You know, and if you count like actually taking, you know, 50, 60 pictures of the project, then I probably do spend 2 hours I spend at least an hour photographing and taking photos from every angle and dragging the furniture around my house. And so yeah, I guess I do spend a couple hours on the thumbnail. The binder information. I know you guys all want the binder. My web designer has been sick, and that's why it's taking so long. I have 4 huge boxes of binders. We have all the goods and everything ready to go and ship, but I don't want to just put the binders out there for the US customers. I don't think that would be fair. I want them available in Canada and in other countries. And my web designer is the only one who knows how to set that up. And she was working on it last week, and she keeps telling me any day now, and I'm really hoping that it will not be much longer. But that's the holdup with the binders. We have them. I can drag the whole huge box over here. I'm gonna do that, hold on. Here they are. They are here. And this is just one of the boxes. I have, can you see? I've got 4 or 5 of those boxes of binders just waiting to ship out to you guys. And I'm frustrated. I'm sorry it's taking so long. But I want to be able to ship them to any member, no matter where you are in the world. So my web person has not been feeling well, and that's why they are late, but hopefully not much longer. So I don't know. I'm gonna give her probably another week, and then if she's still not feeling better, then I'll try and find somebody else who can help me, I think, for those. Yeah, well, I've paid for all of them, so I really would like to send them out. Okay, so somebody else asked, Patricia Wilson asked, Big Top, can it be used on raw wood or stained wood? Yes, Big Top is a sealer. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, and you can put it on raw wood, you can put it on stained wood, you can put it over paint. Shyla also asked the other question about using clay versus resin for the IOD molds. I've used both. For the most part, I like to use the clay. I love the clay. It's really easy, and you can make up a bunch of molds ahead of time and keep them in your freezer. But I do also like the resin. I use the resin for the mermaid nightstand because I wanted something really strong, because the mermaids were handles for the drawer. So both of them are good, but I prefer the paper clay over the resin. But the resin is great too. Can you add paint to Big Top to give it color? Let me see if I can find that. I am on Instagram, Wendy. I'm so upset my in-laws wouldn't let me go to your store the other day. It was an hour away, they said traffic. Oh, Jackie, I'm sorry you couldn't make it too. For some reason the chat just kind of stopped. Yes, you can add paint to Big Top too to give it some color. You can mix a little bit of paint in Big Top or liquid patina, and it'll work like a not a stain, but a glaze. In the same way, if you watched my video with the mermaid nightstand where I added color to the wax, and you can create colored waxes, you can also do the same thing with our top coats. Just know a little bit goes a long way. You don't need very much. You're using Golden Ticket for the first time. Do you like it, Anne? Okay. So, let's see. Oh, Bernice Murray Vintage asks, she asks 2 questions. The first question is she's gonna buy some DIY paint, and she wants to know which colors I suggest for getting started. I suggest looking at the color chart and going with the colors that just speak to you and that you gravitate to. We all have different colors, and the colors that I would be attracted to may not be the same for you. Like, I know Jamie Ray Vintage loves Apothecary and White Swan and Mint Chip, where I hardly ever paint with those colors. I love Bohemian Blue and Kissing Booth and Queen Bee and Old 57 and Mermaid Tail. So I would just say go with the colors that speak to you, that you're gravitated towards. And if you're not sure, you can buy the 8-ounce containers, and those are enough to paint a dresser. It's very, very highly pigmented. The new colors should be out in about a month. And let's see. Oh, okay. So Bernice's other question was, she wants to know, do I script my stories? When I tell my stories, do I write a script, or do I ad-lib? And so this is a great question. What I do is, well, first of all, there's a book that I want to recommend to you if you're interested in telling stories. I think storytelling is a really, really important thing, and you can incorporate storytelling not just into your videos, but into your posts on Instagram or Facebook. Spacers, you guys are talking to each other. Okay. You can put them in your blog posts, but even if you are not wanting to build a social platform, you can tell a story in a Facebook marketplace ad or a Craigslist ad. So stories are just a powerful way to connect with people, and they're a powerful way to sell your product. So, you know, how many times have you been traveling somewhere and you want to bring home something as a memento from your trip, and you want there to be a story that goes with it? So, you know, like I bought a piece of jewelry when I went to Nashville last fall, and I have this awesome piece of jewelry, and it means more to me because it was in the same building that the American Pickers have their store, and it was made by a local artist, and I got to meet her. And so there's a story that goes along with the piece that I buy. And so if you can tell a story and you can incorporate stories into what you create, and even put that in your posting if you're posting it on Craigslist or on Facebook or on Instagram, tell a little story about it. It will engage people, and it will definitely help you sell things. The book is called Long Story Short, and it's by Margot Lightman. I'll put the link to the book after this live is over. I don't want to try and do it now. But I have Skype sessions with her once a month. She's my storytelling coach, and you can get the book on Amazon. You can download it on Audible as well. And it's a great book, and it breaks down story, which I kind of broke down for you in the worksheets this month. But to answer Marie's question, so I don't script my stories because I don't want it to sound like I'm reading something from a script. I want it to be very authentic. So what I will do is I'll write down an outline for the story, and I kind of know like the points that I want to make sure I hit on. And I'll just have some notes next to me as I'm talking. But the great thing about edited video is if I don't get it in while I'm talking to the camera, I can do it in the voiceover. So whenever you're watching my videos and you see my face and I'm talking to the camera, that is never scripted. But when you hear me in the voiceovers, so like when the camera cuts to me painting or doing something, and you hear me talking over the B-roll, that is almost always scripted. And that's I like to write down exactly what I'm gonna say. Oh, thank you, sister. She is helping. There's Danielle. She just posted the link to the book. Yeah, $9.95. It's the best $10 you'll spend if you're interested in storytelling. So when I'm editing my videos, I have like these little clips, right? And I'm looking at my computer screen, and I turn on my microphone, and I know that I have like 5 to 7 seconds to say all of this information before the clip cuts back to me or a different scene. So then that's when I will write down word for word exactly what I want to say, and then I'll hit my microphone and I'll read from the script, and that's usually okay, I'm going to answer those questions in a minute. The scripted part of it, the voiceover, is usually like the most important things that need to be said for the video. In my opinion, it's not always the most interesting things, but it's the important things for the tutorial. Like, you know, make sure that you don't make your molds ahead of time and let them dry out before you apply them, because they'll curl up and they won't adhere to your surface, and you can put them in the freezer. All of that really key information I say for the voiceover because I want to get it right, and it also helps me be more comfortable in front of the camera. Because if you get in front of the camera and you're an introvert like me and you're thinking, I gotta say this, I gotta say this, I gotta make sure I say it this way, I gotta make sure I don't stumble over my words, and I gotta look natural, and I also have to not be boring, then that is a lot of pressure to put onto yourself. So I save all the really, I wouldn't call it technical things, but like the key things for actually making the project, I save that for the voiceover part, and then I just have fun when I'm in front of the camera. So I hope that answers your question, Marie. Let's see, paper clay. I'm not getting the newest questions on my computer, only on the phone. So I don't know what happened, but my question stream stopped. I saw them all going, we just love your anxious little self. Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be the guinea pig. 7 years of making videos, and you would think that I would be more relaxed, but it's still nerve-wracking sometimes. Tips on how to outline your storytelling is also in this month's download. Yes, Danielle, if you can if you can retype in some of the questions maybe that I missed, because I'm not seeing them on the computer, but I'll look for them on the phone. I do use Final Cut Pro. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, so yeah, these are the work. We want to know what you use to make your videos. What platform or app do you use? I use Final Cut Pro. It's very similar to iMovie. I edit all my videos on my laptop. I know that I've heard it said that you can actually make a video and edit it right on your phone. I wouldn't even begin to know how or want to really do that, because I do so many things when I edit that I don't feel like I would be able to make a video on my phone in the same way that I make it on my computer. But I know that it's possible, and I have seen some great videos made that I know were edited on phones. Callie, Bayou Junkin Girls, she makes videos and she does all the editing on her phone, I think. So maybe I'll have her on here talking about how to do that at some point in the future. But I use Final Cut because it's user friendly and I'm not that tech savvy. Not to say that there aren't other programs, but that's what I use. So these are the worksheets for this month, and I wanted to ask you if you have any used in the technique for that, using the mist bottles. Jamie just texted me. The great thing about Abby, I think that's your name, about making videos, she's saying that the thought of making videos makes you nervous. The great thing about making an edited video is it's totally different from doing a live. I push that live button and it's like, what you get is what you get. But when I first started making my YouTube videos, I was so nervous that I closed all my windows and my blinds and I locked the door, and like nobody was gonna come walking through the door, but I just needed to feel safe. And I allowed myself that comfort zone, you know, and I just told myself, turn on the camera, talk to the camera, and if you don't like it, you can delete it. And believe me, I have deleted way more video footage than I have ever put up on YouTube. and you can do it over and over again. I have had days where I couldn't get a sentence out correctly, so I took the first half of the sentence from take one and the second half of the sentence from take two, and I cut them together to make them look like a full sentence. That happens a lot. And so you just have to be okay with not being. Do I still get nervous, or am I over that? Julie, what do you think? How do I look right now? Dry mouth, nervous. I was about to bail out of this live about an hour ago. No, I still get nervous. I'm less nervous doing the edited videos. The last video that I put up, that whole story about the seahorse, I actually shot that pretty much in one take, which is very rare for me. I'll usually shoot two or three takes so that I give myself choices when I get to the editing process. But it does get easier the more you do it, and I feel like lives are the same way. But you know, there's days where I just feel like I don't want to put makeup on. I don't want to curl my hair. I just want to stay in my sweats, eat ice cream, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to paint furniture, and I don't want anyone to see me, and I don't want to talk to anyone, and I don't want to extend myself out to anyone. And that for me is the biggest challenge, because once you push yourself past that, it's so rewarding to make a connection with someone, and it's definitely worth it. But you know, you have to do that for yourself, for your own mental health. Just like, you know, you don't necessarily want to eat. Like today I had liver for lunch, and it was disgusting, but I heard that it's the most nutrient dense food that you can eat, and it's supposed to improve your eyesight. And so I figured out how to make it. I went and bought it for the first time in my life, and I ate it. I forced like 6 bites down, and it was gross, but I did it because I know that it will be a good thing for my health. And sometimes it's the same thing with social media. You know, once you get it done, like going to the gym or whatever it is, you I tried to get my sister to have some liver. She needs it because she's sick. But I did feel better after I ate that disgusting liver, and I have like 3 days worth still in my fridge, and I'm gonna force myself to eat bites of it every single day till it's gone. I know I've heard people say with bacon, I put onions in it. It is really, really disgusting tasting. The taste stayed in my mouth for like an hour afterwards, but I have to say, like, I battle with chronic fatigue, and it gave me an energy boost, and it gave me like a sense of calmness. And I think you can get iron out of liver that you cannot get in a supplement. So that's kind of off topic, but it does relate. It definitely relates to pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. It's I am a Mac girl. You know, whatever it is that you want to do, you push yourself out of that comfort zone, and you will be glad that you did it. You know, there's that saying that when you get to the end of your life, you know, you don't want to have any regrets. You don't want to have things that you didn't try because you were scared. And so in the moment, it's a struggle, but I think once you just dive in, it does get easier. Okay, so back to the worksheets. My mom used to soak mine. Beef or chicken? It was beef. Bacon takes the yuck taste away. I'll try it. I don't like the smell of it either. I took my toothbrush and I scrubbed my whole mouth out. But I'm gonna eat it tomorrow because it did make me feel better, but the taste is disgusting, and people say you start to enjoy it later. How did I decide on the camera angle? When I first started making videos, I turned the camera on myself, and I was like, ugh, I don't like how I look. And so I just kept moving the camera around, or my phone around, until I got an angle where I felt like I looked better, and a higher angle makes you look a little bit thinner and a little bit younger because you're looking up at the camera, so your wrinkles kind of fall back, kind of like a mini facelift, I guess. And it makes your head look really big and your feet look really small, like a lollipop head. And that is how I started. And that goes back to, yeah, you never want the camera below your chin because it will make you look heavier. It's the reverse. Um, so I did that because I felt so uncomfortable with seeing myself. Like when you're filming, you have a little, like right now I'm talking to my phone and I'm just looking at myself and I have to stare at my face for a whole hour. And I just needed that in order to get through it. And then after doing that for so many videos, it just kind of became part of my branding. And so now it's just what I do because it's part of like my signature camera angle, I guess. But that's how it started. And some days I experiment with bringing it down a little bit lower, depending on how I'm feeling, depending on the lighting. But vanity is why I started with camera angle so high. That's another thing. If you're just, here's another reason why I'm so truthful and what kind of lighting do I use. I use this right here. It's a ring light. You can get it on Amazon for about $100. Danielle, can you put the link for that in if you're still watching? Yeah, Amazon. Okay, getting back to being honest and authentic in front of the camera. First and foremost, I do that because you want to create a connection with the people that are watching you. And for me, I think that's why there's a huge shift over to YouTube and social media versus television. I don't even own a television. I don't watch any television. If I ever watch any scripted content, it's on Netflix very rarely, or Hulu or Amazon Prime. But I believe that the reason why most people are watching other types of content now is because I just feel like, the newscasters and whatever the sitcoms are just fake. They're not relatable, and people want to relate to real people. So if they're coming over to YouTube to watch you, it is really important to be yourself and to be authentic. And so for me, it's a great way to make a connection with you guys. But also, like when you get in front of the camera, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, are they going to see, that I have gained 10 pounds? Are they going to see my gray hair? Are they going to see my wrinkles? Are they going to realize that, I don't exactly know how to do this. I'm just winging it here and I'm going to try it and it may or may not work. If you just put that out there from the get-go, it takes all the pressure off. Like, I am not a HGTV host. I stumble over my words. I get hot flashes in the middle of filming. I sometimes I don't get my lipstick on right. And if you just put that out there from the beginning, then the pressure is off and you don't have to live up to some crazy standard that is unachievable, at least for me and most people. Yeah. So, okay, going back to the worksheets, we also had the worksheet on smooth brush strokes and how to get smooth brush strokes. Does anyone have any questions on that? Yeah, high angle. Someday you may turn on your YouTube and see me actually filming while I'm laying flat on the floor with the camera overhead, like a drone. And then the next worksheet was the how to get this beautiful pink color from Kristen Calhoun. Every month, the retailers are going to be giving you special color mixes. So that was the other worksheet. And then the last set of worksheets is about storytelling. And I kind of wanted to get into the storytelling if you're interested in that. Do you think those crazy standards you talk about are self-imposed? Probably. I mean, definitely. Like my type of personality is perfectionist, and I'm extremely vain, and and so yeah, so definitely they're self-imposed, but they're still there, and so you know, it is what it is, and I don't want to apologize for how I feel. You know, I'm vain, and that's just the way that it is, and for me, um, feeling comfortable, and that's just how I deal with it. Whatever way you decide to deal with it. Um, some people don't impose those standards on themselves, but I struggle with that, so I just put it right out there. And if you don't, more power to you. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I wanted to get into storytelling. Um, like I said, we put the link to the book that's really good. My sister put the link there, and then I also broke it down for you in the worksheets. Awesome. You don't live with me, Debbie. I am vain. Um, but that's okay. I like myself being vain because I think, here's another thing. This is off topic, but um, I'm a visual person, and I love, like, to me, what gets me excited, and I think all of you probably can relate to this or you wouldn't be here, but I love seeing beautiful images on Pinterest. I love seeing the images on Instagram. I love going shopping and seeing all the beautiful displays at Anthropology. And so it's just kind of a natural thing to want to also feel good about how I look personally. And so I put effort into the clothes that I wear and my makeup, and I just find ways to deal with how I look as I get older. And so vanity isn't necessarily a bad thing. So are you, sister. So are you. Um, you know, but you have to have balance, and you can't let it get totally out of control. And at some point, you got to say, this is who I am. This is, you know, I've put my best foot forward, and I'm not going to let the fact that I don't 100% love how I'm looking today get in the way of sharing and doing what I want to do. Um, so, anyway, back to the storytelling. So my storytelling coach and the book, if you read the book, there's principles to storytelling. So if you watch my videos and you listen to the storytelling, um, there's like three basic things that you want to keep in mind when you're telling a story. Um, so if you watch any, like, you will see this basic format show up in most movies you see, in the commercials that you watch, even in the billboard advertising. um, and this will help you tell your story. Through younger grand. So in every story there's a basic storytelling structure, and that is, there's a character who wants something. The character has to overcome conflict to get it, and the character is changed by the process. So that can be really simple. That can be, you know, I went to the grocery store and I was looking for liver that was grass fed and they didn't have it, and I had to go to another store. And then when I went to that other store, I found this guy who showed it to me, and we started talking about blah, blah, blah. It can be just some real simple thing that happens to you one day in a matter of 20 minutes, or it can be a long, involved, rambling. If you break down that structure of that video, if you watch the video of the seahorse dresser, I was the character who wanted something. And what I wanted was to keep the dresser, the wedding cake dresser. And I made a commitment to give it to the woman who won it in the class that I taught. And so I wanted to keep the dresser, and I tried to get out of it. I tried to give her paint instead. And I went through all these obstacles and all these thought processes, and I wanted to keep that dresser. And so when I realized that I couldn't keep the dresser, I needed to make myself feel better. So I decided to come up with something even better than the dresser that I had to give away, which was the seahorse dresser. But it was scary because I'd never done anything like that, and I was worried that it wasn't going to turn out right. And I went through all of these ups and downs just making the seahorse dresser and putting it out there. and I was changed in the end by the process of everything, because I learned that in order to build creative muscle, you have to push against the resistance. Just like when if you go to the gym and you're lifting weights, you're pushing against the resistance, and that builds your creative muscle just like you build muscles in the gym. And so that was my basic story structure. Um, the white ring, yeah, it can get a little bright. As the sun goes down, the light changes on it a little bit. So that is your basic story story structure. So if you're telling a story, think about um, think about the story that you have to tell and how it fits into that model. What was it that you wanted? What did you have to go through to get it? And how were you changed in the end by the process? So Debbie is saying the estate sale flip-flop story, the very first video. Um, yeah. So in that story, what was that? That was the mermaid nightstand. I tell that story, and I wanted to get good things at the estate sale. And so I was the character who wanted to go to that estate sale, and I wanted to leave there with a whole bunch of bargains and fill my car with a whole bunch of cool stuff from the estate sale. And in order to do that, I had to get up and drive to Los Angeles in the middle of the night so that I could be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I had to sleep in the van. Then I had to pee in the Starbucks cup. And then I had to wait in line with this big tall guy breathing down my neck, and I waited in line for an hour in the cold, and I felt dirty, and I was wearing flip-flops, and then when the doors opened, the guy stepped on my flip-flop, and I was willing to just lose my shoe and shop at the estate sale. And I was changed by the process, because I learned, that if you really want something, then let the flip-flop go. Don't go back for the shoe. And the red-haired girl, yeah. Yeah, she's awesome. So it can be, it can be lighthearted. It can be just a silly, funny story, or it can have a deeper meaning. It can be about building creative muscle. It can be like the story that I told about my friend that I lost that died of liver failure. But if you create that structure for yourself, and you kind of, whatever story it is that you want to tell, you can always find those things, because usually the biggest stories and the most compelling stories, new shoes for my reward, yeah, are the ones that change us, right? So if you think back on some of the harder stories that you may have to tell in your life, you're always changed by the process, and sometimes we don't want to go through those experiences. But so just keep that in mind when you're telling your stories. What, if you're the character, what was it that you wanted? What did you go through to get it? How were you changed by the process? And I think that last part, a lot of people, Bobby just texted me. He brought me a steak today. He wanted to know how it was. I think that's the last part is easy to overlook, or you don't want it, like when you get to the end of the story and you're sharing how you were changed by the process, you don't want it to be like the moral of the story, or you're telling people what they should do. Make sure that you just say, this is how I was changed by this process. Don't turn it into, so the moral of the story is never do this or always do this. I don't think, at least this is what my storytelling coach tells me, is that people don't really want to be preached to, and they don't want to be told what to do, and it's better if you let them draw their own conclusions. So you can say, this is how I was changed, this is what I learned, and then let the viewer or the listener or the follower decide for themselves how they're changed by listening to your story and relating to it. So those are the three big things, and I want to challenge you all to find a way to tell a story with one of your projects. Even if you're not online and you're not making videos, take one of your projects and write the story out, and put it in your worksheet folder that you don't have yet. and see if you can maybe incorporate that into a post for selling your piece of furniture. I guarantee you that if you are making something, whether it's a painted piece of furniture or a piece of jewelry, and you tell a little story with it about what inspired you, or you just find a way to tie a story to the piece of furniture, people will connect with you, and it will help you sell your work. So that is pretty much it. We're at 7:30. If you have any more questions, I still see there's quite a few people in here. I'd love to answer your questions, and I'm willing to keep going if you have questions. So just type them in. If you've already typed them, I can't. Oh wait, I see one. My husband sat down and watched the wedding cake video with me to learn a little more about the molds, and he really enjoyed it. Pretty little wife. That's awesome. I'm always flattered when men actually watch my videos, because I feel like they're very centered towards women. I'm here doing this or trying to do this because my brother passed away 2.5 years ago, and he's pushing me. I have to live for my brother. Jackie, I will tell you that when my mom passed away, she was my best friend. And I was in the middle of one of the hardest times in my life. Here's another story that I have not told publicly at all, because it's a very, it's a doozy of a story. But I started off selling DIY paint with another manufacturer, and it wasn't long when I got into that relationship and that contract with the other manufacturer that I realized that we had very different points of view as far as how to run a business and how to treat people. But I was locked into a year contract, and when I started that contract, my mom was in the last year of her life. She was fighting cancer, and I was living with her and helping her get through all of that. And there was all this turmoil with my business and with my finances and with this person that I was in a contract with. And in a way, had my mom not been sick, I think I would have stressed out and had like an emotional roller coaster about it. But because my mom was dying, it put everything into perspective. And it was like, okay, yes, I could lose everything that I've ever worked for financially here, and all this hard work could go to this person who isn't doing things the way that I think they should be done. But I really don't care, because my mom, it's like when you're losing someone that you love that much, it's like all of a sudden all the things that are important to you are not important anymore, and it's just the person that you love. And so I was able to get through this crazy, horrible time where this person was doing things that I can't really say online, but they were horrible. And in the middle of all of that, the contract expired, and basically this person used my platform to build their own business. And then once I brought all the customers to them, they started another paint line with the same colors, thinking that they would just take all of my customers and carry on without me. And thank you very much for bringing all the customers, and now we don't need you anymore. Basically, that's what was going on. And I was dealing with my mom. And so right at the midnight hour, I found another manufacturer to work with me, and I was able to keep most of my customers. And that was when I started DIY paint on my own. And so my mom passed away, and basically my safety net was gone, 'cause she was my best friend. And I had this brand new, I literally, a month before, was given this brand new opportunity to have DIY paint all on my own. And I didn't have time to cry, and I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself. And I had to keep working in order to keep the retailers that I had 100 retailers, and I had to I had to give them a sense of confidence that I was going to do a good job, and I had to just keep working around the clock. And how do you do that when you just lost your best friend? You do it because that's how she taught me to live, and the best way that I could honor my mom is to live the things that she taught me and to live a full life. And you know, and I picture her up in heaven waving pom-poms and cheering for me, and I know she's proud of me. And honestly, like, you lose someone that you love, and the best way you can honor them is not to lay down and give up, but to move forward in their name. You know, wave, put their name on a flag and wave it and march forward in honor of them and their life. And so that's what I would say. Jackie, your brother is right. You need to do it. And it's fun. And like, I never imagined that like my mom was my safety net, and she was my best friend, and I talked to her every day. And sometimes you can get in relationships with people you love, and you think, oh, I can never live without them. And truth be told, I'm doing things that I never thought I would do without my mom. And I'm way stronger than I ever thought I would be. And I'm shocked at myself. All right, so that's it for my stories for tonight. If there are any other questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, I will sign off. So if you have questions, put them in the comments. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Yeah. Praying for you, Jackie. Thanks. All right. Okay, so I'm going to say goodnight, and we'll be back soon. I might come back with my sister when she's feeling better before the next scheduled one, just to make her do it. All right. I will also go back and read all the comments after the live stream stops, because then I can read them all and answer any of the ones that I missed. I hope I got to all of them. But thank you so much for coming and listening. And oh, that is awesome. Naming your business after your grandmother. I think Dion from the Turquoise Iris also named her business after her grandmother. Do I have a kind of ballpark number you could throw for theirs that want to become retailers? So if you want to become a DIY retailer, you go to our website and you fill out the application. We give territories. We're one of the few paint companies who offer a territory. So before we give out all of that information, we like to check your territory and make sure that it's available. But once you fill out that application, you'll get all of the information there. And it doesn't take long. We get back to you in a couple of days. So you don't have to actually sign up to know what you're getting into first. I hope so too, Debbie. All right, so we do have minimums. We have a minimum that we ask you to keep on your shelves at all time. We have a minimum opening order. We don't require minimums as far as which colors. You can order whatever colors that suits your demographic. But the reason why we have a minimum opening order and a minimum on the shelf is because once you become a retailer and you get on our map, people will drive an hour or more to come buy paint from you, and not selling to someone who just wants to buy paint at wholesale and not actually sell it. We want to invest in those retailers who are serious about being retailers. I would love to have DIY paint in Australia too. It's unfortunately there's a ton of red tape, and I don't know how to make that happen and still keep the prices reasonable. But you never know. Technology is changing. The world's changing so fast. It could be possible. Awesome, Susie. Would love to have you. Love to have you as a retailer. Okay, so yeah, questions about retailer, just go to the website, debbiesdesigndiary.com. The application just takes a few minutes to fill out, and then we'll send you a reply with more questions answered than you probably even want. You drove 2 hours. Can I help you with the red tape? Probably not. Like, we have seriously looked into it. Right now, because it's paint, because it's liquid, we would literally have to set up a distribution center in every other country that we want to sell it in. And Canada has been our first country outside of the US, and it's been really hard. And I haven't been able to offer the Canadian retailers everything that we offer the US retailers because of all of that red tape. And so I don't want to go into other countries and not offer the same things. All right, good night, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.